Fans couldn't believe it for more than a year. Lisa Bonet and Jason Momoa, one of the most beloved couples in Hollywood, suddenly split up. What seemed like the ideal family before was marred by rumors of treachery, violent arguments, and hidden truths. Lisa and Jason chose to keep silent, but word spread like wildfire. But now, shocking everyone, Zoe Kravitz is speaking out. "I've had enough of the deceit. The illusion and all our assumptions regarding Zoe's mother's divorce are shattered by these 5 words." The revelations she made did more than put an end to rumors. It turned the plot on its head because, as Zoe sees it, the world needs to know the truth now. The fairy story of Zoe Kravitz and the subsequent failures. Zoe Kravitz wasn't simply a member of a contemporary Hollywood family until her divorce. For the audience, she embodied the essence of a fairy tale come to life. The image of bohemian elegance and subdued power had long been associated with her mother, Lisa Bonet. She established a steady, tranquil existence following her breakup with Lenny Kravitz in the early 1990s. Zoe grew up in one of them. After that, Jason Momoa arrived. Everything shifted the second Jason laid eyes on Lisa in 2005. He told everyone she was his boyhood crush and was completely smitten with her loud, boisterous, and shameless. His friendship with Zoe became stronger with his relationship with Lisa. As if she were his own, Jason embraced Zoe. Zozo Bear was his name for her. His name was Papa Bear to her. They seemed to have a real connection thanks to their shared tattoos, embarrassing pictures, and laughter on the red carpet. The fact that he was Lisa's partner wasn't his only role. No one could have been more like him. Fans were enamored with Lisa and Jason's blended family by the time of their 2017 wedding. The Wolf family, Lisa, Jason, Zoe, and their 2 younger children, Lola and Nakoa. It appeared ideal from the outside. The fissures, however, had always been there, as Zoe now discloses. The piece was crumbling behind the scenes. The change was deeply personal for Zoe. After all the Instagram posts and public acclaim, what had begun as a family dream felt like something else entirely. Everything she witnessed and chose to remain silent about for so long is now being brought to light. Fractures detected. Behind the scenes, what exactly went wrong? Lisa Bonet and Jason Momoa seemed to have a Hollywood romance scripted for them. Radical, passionate, and unreachable. The truth of celebrity, continual travel, and competing lifestyles was subtly driving a wedge between them off-camera. It was clear when things started to change. After starring as Aquaman in 2018, Jason Momoa's career took off. With a sudden influx of blockbuster offers, foreign production schedules, press tours, and mounting commitments, he transformed from a cult favorite to a global superstar almost overnight. More often than before, Jason was gone from home. That change was more than simply awkward for Lisa Bonet, who had done her best to avoid the limelight in Hollywood. It was rather distancing. As Jason became a staple at glitzy events, traveled for months at a time, and basked in the spotlight, Lisa was allowed to maintain their grounded, tranquil life in Los Angeles. Lisa, according to couple friends, was never a fan of the glitz and glamour of the red carpet or the politics of the entertainment world. Away from the hubbub of Jason's sudden international stardom, she found solace in solitude, the natural world, and spiritual practices. By mentioning her mother's appreciation for simplicity and calm, Zoe Kravitz herself has hinted in previous interviews to this widening gulf. Above the lifestyle pushed by celebrity. Jason loved Lisa with all his heart, but their relationship suffered as a result of the emotional and physical distance caused by his rapidly rising career. The couple's behavior only made matters worse. Lisa was very reclusive and preferred to work through her feelings in private. In contrast, Jason let his emotions show through his sleeve, but would frequently withdraw inside his work to avoid conflict. Their growing distance from one another was recognized by those close to the family in 2021. while Jason would be away filming for extended periods of time in exotic locales. Lisa would remain in California and was frequently photographed without her wedding band. They meticulously planned their public appearances, so nobody knew a thing. The obvious hints, however, were there for anybody paying attention. The frequency of Lisa's enigmatic social media posts increased. Subtle contemplations on liberation, distancing, and personal development that border on poetry. Her advice to supporters, to let go of those who don't support their journey, became crystal clear when they read that post in retrospect. Probably the most revealing indicator was the buzz around their few public appearances as a couple in their last year together. Professionals in the field of body language even noticed that they were becoming physically apart during the activities, a sharp change from the tenderness and intimacy of their younger years. After much waiting, the world apparently received their answer in early 2022. The stunning breakup announcement by Lisa Bonet and Jason Momoa crushed the hearts of many. But while everyone else thought they knew everything, Zoe Kravitz had hardly begun speaking, and her next words would completely change the story. The shocking news of the divorce and the subsequent eerie quiet spoke it all. Lisa Bonet and Jason Momoa caught everyone off guard in January 2022 when they announced their breakup together. They had been together for 16 years, but only married for 5. Now, the apparently inseparable couple was breaking up. Their announcement of the divorce, more than the divorce itself, was the center of attention, but so that as we go about our lives, we may do so with dignity and honesty. They wrote in a very spiritual and poetic joint statement that was shared on Jason's Instagram. As time goes on, our love grows and changes in ways it hopes to be understood and experienced. The two of us are able to let go and be ourselves because of this. This news came as a complete shock to the generation that had idolized their romance. Anger, bewilderment, and speculation erupted on social media. A single sentence lingered in the thoughts of all: "We liberate one another." How did it signify? If someone wanted freedom, what were they trying to escape? The internet promptly filled up the gaps. Word spread like wildfire. During his many periods away from home filming, certain newspapers started spreading wild accusations that Jason had been unfaithful. Many thought that Lisa Bonet had had enough of Jason's increasingly irresponsible behavior, which she blamed for his lack of responsibility towards his family and for his excessive partying. However, it continued beyond that. Rumors started circulating, dark and startling, that the marriage had been violent, alleging that Jason or Lisa had engaged in abusive behavior. Trolls on the internet and tabloid headline writers let their imaginations run wild, making up stories with no proof. Others accused Jason of being impulsive, and some even went so far as to suggest that Lisa Bonet was domineering or difficult because of the spiritual introversion of her lifestyle. The fact that they confirmed their separation but remained close after the news added further mystery. Jason was spotted spending time with Lisa and the kids, going to family gatherings, and even showing his support for Zoe Kravitz at her The Batman premiere. Not because he was poor, but because he appreciated the independence of his modified vintage RV. Jason was famously seen living in it soon after the breakup. However, news reports continued to indicate that the world-renowned star had been evicted or left with nothing after seeing him living in a van close to his buddies. Fans' stubbornness in refusing to accept the couple's breakup only added fuel to the fire. There were constant rumors that Lisa and Jason were getting back together, that they were seen together, or that they might be married again. False optimism for a reunion was woven into every photo of them interacting, whether co-parenting or just being nice. In the midst of all the mayhem, Zoe Kravitz's voice was conspicuously absent. Amidst the flurry of accusations directed at her mother and stepfather, the daughter remained silent. That stillness, yet, was not apathy. There was processing, suffering, and protection. Reason being, Zoe had been secretly observing her family's demise unfold before anyone else's eyes. As a result, she found herself entangled. She is Lisa's daughter and Jason's stepdaughter. Someone who thought their relationship was so special that it belonged in a movie. Until it changed. Zoe finally spoke up when her supporters had given up hoping for an answer. She expressed her exhaustion with the lying. Only 5 words. Everything changed after that, because what Zoe said next did more than simply put an end to the rumors. The world was shocked to learn what drove a wedge between this once beautiful pair. In the midst of it all, Zoe's inner struggle, seeing it unravel. Seeing her stepfather, Jason Momoa, and mother Lisa Bonet transform from best friends to complete strangers was more than just a family tragedy for Zoe Kravitz. It was a very personal tragedy on many fronts. They were Hollywood royalty to everyone else, but to Zoe, they were just her parents, the only real family she had ever known. Zoe and Jason Momoa had an unusually close relationship, in contrast to the typical strained or aloof stepchild-stepparent dynamic. He proudly referred to her as my daughter in multiple interviews. Albeit, he is not her biological father. Their bond went beyond being genuine. It was profound. Zoe found herself emotionally torn as she tried to shield her mother and stepfather from the rumors that were circulating when Lisa and Jason's marriage started to crumble. There was a lot more going on behind the scenes for her than what the audience witnessed. Those close to Zoe later came clean about how much of an impact the divorce had on her. Her mother had relied on Zoe as an emotional rock for a long time, particularly while Jason was gone for so long. During the months when Jason was away from home due to his successful Hollywood profession, Lisa frequently relied on Zoe for assistance. In spite of the fact that Zoe was her mother's trusted confidant, her love for Jason remained unshaken. She boasted about how he was always there for her, partaking in her deep family traditions, enjoying birthdays together, and even attending her 2019 wedding to Carl Glusman. Once word of the divorce went public, though, things started to shift quickly. According to those in the know, Zoe saw herself stepping into the role of mediator more and more, attempting to keep the peace between Jason and Lisa, all the while watching out for her own mental health. She felt responsible for maintaining family harmony and was conflicted about taking a stand. Even in public, Zoe's nonverbal cues shifted. Zoe became more subdued at events where Jason was there to cheer her on, such as the 2022 Batman premiere. Zoe appeared wary, maybe struggling with conflicting feelings about their changing family dynamic, in contrast to Jason's enthusiastic support. Realizing this wasn't a simple family issue anymore only made things more difficult. Everyone was looking on. People looked for signs as to Zoe's allegiance in everything she did, said, and posted online. Truth, however, was known to those closest to Zoe. There was no side she was taking. Subtly, she was mourning the dissolution of her familial unit. For her, it had nothing to do with glamour or press. The inability of 2 individuals she cared about to stay together was the hardest part. Rumors intensified during her period of quiet. That is, until Zoe spoke up when nobody else would. "I've had enough of the deceit." She acknowledged the emotional weight of the reality with those 5 words, something neither Lisa nor Jason had done since the breakup. This wasn't simply about terminating a marriage for Zoe. The impact on all parties and the extent to which her pain went unnoticed were the main points. The impact that Zoe's divorce had on her personal life, relationships, and sense of self. 2 people, each heading in their own route, who are brave enough to leave the past behind, no matter how beautiful it was. Even though she had been through a lot of heartbreak, rumors, and public scrutiny, Zoe expressed her gratitude. "They were there for my siblings and me. They treated it with the utmost care, and it is the very most I could hope for." Then she spoke the last words: "Peace, prosperity, and a fresh start for all as we go ahead."